What's up, everybody? Welcome in. Hope you're having a wonderful evening. My name is Rob Trujillo. Excited to do this watch along with you. Oh, let's get the lighting right. Hold on. Oh, yeah. Little mood lighting. Welcome in, everybody, for a game that I think is going to be not very entertaining, but I'm still here for. Packers and Raiders. As far as bets, I have the Packers right now, but likely he'll put something together during the game. Try to keep myself entertained. Appreciate everybody for jumping in. Love to hear who your bets are on. And then if everything's terrible, you know, maybe we play some games or something. I'm at 13:52, 50, 49, 48 of the first quarter. All right, let's get this thing cranked up, huh? Three straight runs. You got exactly 10 yards. Most coaches would be very happy with that. I'm kind of annoyed by it. But, that's the way it goes. I decided to watch the actual broadcast tonight. I was very annoyed with the Manning cast the other night. Like, I don't know. I like when they talk about football stuff, but it's annoying when they don't. So, went with the actual broadcast. Little tight end screen. Probably trying to get your guy Jordan Love a couple easy completions. Let's see. So I got Packers money line is the only thing I got open right now, and I think I've got a Monday Night Football bonus 50% odds boost. Hmm. So I'll probably. Oh, I don't think I can put together a single game parlay though. Now that the game has started, which is a bummer because I would have used that odds boost. Anyway, hope everybody had a wonderful Sunday. Um, Weird pregame show yesterday, but we still got you all the bets. It's strange with the Buffalo Bills game being on, but we did the best we could. So, first quarter, 12:50 left. Second and 4 now after some confusion on the field. It's my first time getting to watch Jordan Love live, um, at least this season. Everybody says he's been better, but I don't know. I mean, I've seen a lot of running the ball. Makes any quarterback better. Wow, their offense is 30th ranked in rushing. Couple real easy throws for Jordan Love to start it out. I think that's smart, calculated by LaFleur, most likely. But I honestly, I don't think the Raiders are very good. So I'm not super high on the Packers, if that's what it sounds like. That's right. um, but I just think this is a matchup of two not very good teams. So don't forget, hop in the chat. Let me know what your bets are. Packers with a 3rd and 3 here. They're just on the other side of the 50. And if I'm Matt LaFleur, I'm probably telling Jordan Love that you got 2 chances to pick this up because you're a little bit too far for a field goal, but I would never punt it here at the plus 46, 7, plus 47. Oh, Gabs, what's going on? Worst victory Monday ever. Yeah, uh, Bills had plenty of injuries too. Been a, and I lost. At least you won. But been a bad Monday all around. Um, I was shocked you guys figured it out. 4th and 3 for me now. 10:28 left. Oh, I hate that. Just run a damn play. I hate punting from plus territory. They'll back him up 5 yards now, so technically it won't be plus territory, but brutal. Gabs, did you get any word on any of your guys' injuries? Jimmy Garoppolo raring to go is the report we get from ESPN. Yeah, Russell Wilson and Patrick Mahomes. That's definitely what the matchup is for Thursday Night Football. You can decide if you're excited about that or not. You got to do a post game show after that, too. That's probably not going to be fun. Okay. Well, start our weekend wrap up like we do every Monday. Make sure we get everybody here. So start at the beginning. Okay, Buffalo, Jacksonville. Listen, I am bitter because I'm a Bills fan, but I wonder how the NFL will feel about this turf and travel after the Bills lose their whole defense and injury bugs Sunday all over the country. Yeah. What's up, Milkman? Oh, did you come back in just to troll, or are you actually concerned? Tell me what happened for real. What happened was one team was ready to play and the other team wasn't. You could talk about a lot of reasons why that was, but Bills did not respond well to going over to London, and they lost by 5 points. Uh, In 2 weeks, they've lost their number one corner and an all-pro corner and an all-pro linebacker. That's tough for them. So, yeah, they struggled yesterday. But I'm not worried about it. I think it's more an aberration than anything. The question is, are the injuries going to be so bad that it's going to make them a mediocre team? You've lost 2 all-pro players in 2 weeks. Not to mention a few other people that are hurt here and there. Nice little tight end throw from Garoppolo. So I'm at 10-14 of the first quarter now. Packers, Raiders. But yeah, we actually were just about to start our weekend wrap-up, Milkman, with that game. And I think it was, even the Jaguars came out and said that they felt like they had a huge advantage because they had been in London for the week. And the Bills had just gotten over there. And how different it felt from the first week to the second week, them trying to play a game. Travis Etienne, I think, is the one that had the quote that said, that it just felt unfair. So it's interesting. It's something that the NFL is trying, no doubt, because eventually they think they're going to have teams over there. And if there's teams over there, they're obviously going to be acclimated. And a team is going to have to fly over there and then play them. So Bills were kind of the guinea pig. The other thing that's super frustrating is everybody complained about the turf. And what's frustrating about that is the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium has a grass field. And they rolled it out of there so they could play on that shitty turf. So a couple guys complained about it. I hated that game from the start. Would have told you that on Saturday. Hated everything about that game. Knew it was going to be a nightmare. And my one hope, I didn't even care if they won. My one hope was that they got out of there healthy, and they absolutely did not do that. So, all said, defense played pretty well. Jaguars defense played pretty well too. Calvin Ridley's good. Trevor Lawrence is good. Jags are a good team. And Bills hung in there right till the end. Happens, The big thing is the Bills decided not to take their bye after their trip to London. So they get the Giants on Sunday Night Football next week. And that's going to be interesting. You can't let one loss turn into two, and now they're real beat up. They're in real big trouble in terms of their injuries and stuff like that. So they got to find a way to get a win this week and not let this thing get out of control. Not that I don't think that they have the talent to get it back under control if they did happen to lose another one, but that's the big thing for them. For Jacksonville, they did take the bye after this trip to London, so 3-2, they get a bye, get to come back home, and I think they're going to be feeling real good about themselves. So, how do I feel about Josh Allen that game? Felt like he was just kind of sleepwalking through the start, as I felt like the whole team was. I didn't love the play calling, but Josh is the kind of guy who's either real good or real bad, and you live with the good or you live with the bad because it comes with his incredible skills and talent, and there's 30 other NFL teams probably that would take him. So let's see, shoot the 49ers, let me tell you, was the better team this week. The Bills broke more tablets than had INTs. I don't know what that means. Milkman, if you're referring to Stephon Diggs breaking a tablet, I don't care. I really don't. Everybody freaks out about these things that happen on the sideline, and they happen all the time everywhere, and nobody wants to admit that these are things that happen on the NFL sidelines all the time. So, Uh, if you don't know the answer to that question, Milkman, then you are dreaming. Diggs was pissed. Josh missed him wide open. Uh, I think that's an assumption, but I mean, it might have been. It doesn't matter to me. Why? Do you know how many people throw those freaking tablets? Like, you want me to get you a shot of Bill Belichick spiking a phone, Tom Brady spiking a tablet, and when Tom Brady does it, everybody's like, "Oh, look at the fire! Look at the competitor!" And when Stephon Diggs does it, everybody thinks it's a big deal. So, I mean, I really don't care at all that he did that. That people caught him doing that. The dude wants to win. Okay, great. Um, Dak Prescott is quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, and even they wouldn't say that he's better than Josh Allen. So I'm not worried about the Bills at all. Come at me all you want for them. That's fine. No concern whatsoever. My biggest concern is that they lost an All-Pro cornerback and an All-Pro linebacker. They're going to have to try to figure out how to replace those guys. But they've got a good defensive line. Daquan Jones going out is tough. Really good defensive lineman for them. Garoppolo holding on to the ball too long. Going to cost them a drive here. So I took the Packers money line to get a little bit better odds. I didn't feel like I needed the point that I would get for the Packers. So let's see what's next. Texans. Oh man, that Texans Falcons game ended up being a real good one. I got to watch a significant portion of it. CJ Stroud is a dude. I don't think Desmond Ritter is a dude, but man, kid still hasn't lost a home game, so props to him. Um, on the bright side, y'all don't play anybody for real until week 9. So yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, they got Giants this week, so um, it's definitely an opportunity to get right. But like I said, you got to figure out a way to deal with all those injuries. So, but yeah, trying to get under my skin about the Bills. Be hard pressed to do it. Um, like I said, I think there's 30 teams that would take our quarterback and probably 28 teams who would take where we are right now in the season. So I'm totally fine with it. Yeah, Gabs, I did see that stat. Um, 31 and 0 in home games since high school for Desmond Ritter. I know he never lost one at Cincinnati. I didn't go back and actually look at his high school stats. I just took people's words for it. So, but um, yeah, man. I mean, that's impressive. Even just 5-0 at home with a team like the Falcons. Um, that's an impressive stat for a kid. Um, CJ Stroud, that drive to like take the lead was awesome. Uh, the kid did not panic at all, and you're not supposed to have that as a rookie in your whatever fifth NFL start. So I was not a believer in that kid. I was not one of the people who was like, oh, CJ Stroud over Bryce Young. I actually really didn't love either of them. Um, that's interesting. I didn't really think about if you put a gun to my head, which one would I pick? Um, but I didn't lean heavy one way or the other. I felt like Young is just so small. Um, so yeah, uh, but the kid definitely shows they got it. And listen, there's a ton of talent on that young Houston team. Love D'Amico Ryans as a coach. It's fun. They could be fun. I know you hate that, Gabs, but they could be. Could be fun in the AFC South, but had one stolen from them yesterday from the Falcons, who just look at Jordan Love go. Um, had one stolen from them in Atlanta, and the Falcons just continue to stay hanging in. Um, Everywhere, like I I don't think the Falcons are a good team, and they are just right in it for the NFC South, which isn't going to be a great division. Doesn't have a dominant team, so good for them. There you go. Into the red zone for the Packers. Let's see. I will say this, Rob. I did take your advice on money line that Bills game, and we both lost. So syncing together this week. I did not bet the Bills money line. I did not bet the Bills money line, and I wouldn't have. I would have, you know. Um, I think the advice I gave was if you forced me to bet, I would take the Bills, but money line. Um, but if I had my druthers, I would have stayed off of it for all the reasons that I said. A team flying across the Atlantic Ocean when one has been on the other side. I still think the Bills are the better team, but you got put in a real tough situation. I don't like that bet at all. It's kind of how I feel about Thursday night games a lot of the time. Gabs, man, the Falcons with a good QB could be huge in the NFC. They have a good roster. Yeah, they do. And their weapons are great. I mean, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Bijan Robinson. They have dudes. They really do. Um, it'll be interesting. A lot of people say if they had a QB, like you're saying, Gabs. I don't know. I mean, it's not like you can bring one in mid-year and expect it to be anything better than what Desmond Ritter is putting up right now. Um, but how good does their quarterback play have to be to get them to win the NFC South and get a home playoff game? I don't think it's got to be that good. You basically, to me, I don't think the Saints are that good. I think you have to do better than. I think you got to do better than the Bucks and Baker Mayfield, and I don't think that's a. I don't think that's a huge lift either. So. All right, let's see here. Next game is the Detroit Lions and Carolina Panthers. That one played out pretty much as expected, I think, from everybody. Um, Lions putting their foot down, saying we are a good team, and the Panthers just didn't have enough to hang. But they're good at scoring fantasy points, so that's a plus. Who are you talking about, Milkman? Um, I don't know who this Anders Carlson is for the Packers, but don't blow this for me. There you go. 3-0 Packers. So I'm at 2:38 in the first. 3-0 Packers. Uh, yeah, we can wait on the pre-roll. Atlanta is good at scoring fantasy points. Um, well, listen, I believe that they want to keep the ball out of Ritter's hands as much as possible. So I like Bijan Robinson. Drake London gets his. Kyle Pitts, I've heard, has been a disappointment fantasy wise and in real life. But um, Let's see, Gabs. If the Bears get the first pick and you, the Falcons, are you calling for Justin Fields? Probably not. Probably not. I might call the Bears and ask them how much to get the other first round pick that you got that's up there, because the Bears currently own the Panthers first round pick as well, and right now that would mean they have the number 1 and number 2 picks in the draft. So I might call and see what it's going to take for me to get Drake May, see what it takes for me to get in front of the Denver Broncos to draft Drake May. That's possible. Because he doesn't have a good QB. Yeah, well, I mean, that's probably part of it, but having a tight end produce with a bad QB is way easier than having anybody else, a wide receiver, or anybody else produce. But yeah, I mean, Desmond Ridder doesn't look like anything special, but it's early. Don't do that to Broncos Nation, man. They got Russ already. Hey, listen, they're already talking about taking the buyout hit here. It's being suggested maybe they sit him down for Stidham. Yeah. Yeah, the whole Russell Wilson thing is a mess here. But we'll get there. Don't worry. So Lions and Panthers played out pretty much as expected, which is nice. I remember when the Bills started winning games that they were supposed to win like that. And I'm happy for the Detroit fans because it's a good feeling to be like, okay, we're supposed to win this game, then come out and win that game. So happy for Lions fans. Got a fun season ahead of them, I think. Next is the Titans and the Colts. Gabs, you want to give us a recap? um, yeah, man, the Titans and the Colts. What would I say about it? It can constantly, continuously shocked me, that game. Um, the poor rush defense for the Titans was surprising. The inability to score on the Colts was surprising, but that defense has played pretty well all year. Maybe their worst game was against Houston. I'm trying to think. Yeah, you did. You did. Um, but I don't think you expected that to be Zach Moss, for being completely honest. Um, I don't know. Just at no point in that game did it feel to me like the Colts were in control, and then all of a sudden you look up and there's, a few minutes left in the fourth quarter, and there they are in the lead. Um, so yeah, constantly impressed by the Colts, constantly impressed by Garner Minshew, worried about what kind of career Anthony Richardson is going to have. He's now had, what, 3 different injuries that have knocked him out of the game, knocked him out of a game. And that's bad. Can't do that. Can't have that as a quarterback. Don't forget, if you got any bets on the game, anything like that, feel free to let us know. I've got Packers money line, and I'll be hunting something else here at some point. Well, and Gabs, he had the concussion and the shoulder, right? So that's 2. The third one, you're saying he's just sore when the game was over, but you know, sometimes rookies just don't understand how much more painful it is to play in the NFL than it is the SEC even. Um, so I hope he's not an injury-prone guy, but it's something you have to at least let enter your mind about his future. How many teams in the NFL have a bad QB, and you can feel that if they can get traded, it'll solve their problems. Um, I'd say there's probably 10 teams who are happy with their quarterback situation right now, which is interesting because coming into the year, I felt like that number was a lot bigger, but it feels like the judgment year, if you will, for quarterbacks. I think there's a lot of teams who are going to look at their QB situation and decide to move on this next year. That is teams like the Raiders, could be a team like the Packers. The Saints probably won't move on, but they might decide that they're not crazy about Derek Carr. It might take a couple years for them to move on, but Derek Carr hasn't looked great. Um, yeah, I think there's a bunch of QBs running out of time. What's the situation in New York? Mac Jones probably out in New England. Um, let's see. The Florida teams are good. Sam Howell's looked okay. Um, Not overly inspiring. How many more years does Matt Stafford play? I, I mean, Pete Carroll seems to like Geno Smith, but I can't believe that the Seahawks wouldn't make a move there if they felt like they could do better. Um, Cardinals, Josh Dobbs, if you're talking about the NFL as a whole, I think a lot of quarterback experiments are coming to an end at the end of this season. So I'm expecting to see a lot of movement. It's a really good quarterback class. You'll probably have a bunch of guys cut. You'll see some guys get second chances places. But last year, I felt like a lot of teams were at least content with their quarterback situation, and I think that's going to end here soon. Gabs says an insider tweeted that the Colts organization are thinking and trusting more in Richardson as a passer because he showed more than expected and take some portion off the designed runs, but I don't think that's the problem. It's probably a little bit of both, Gabs. You know what I mean? Like, this is what Josh Allen went through his first couple of years. Not a lot of people watched the Bills closely back then, but you could see flashes of him having it. And, um, you know, when you look back at it, you probably say, people still say that he takes too many hits and you shouldn't have the designed runs and stuff like that. But the designed runs aren't normally what hurts him. So, yeah, you definitely have to be conscious of it with Anthony Richardson. But when you're trying to make it in the NFL as a young guy, what you need is reps. You need to keep seeing those live offense or live defenses, learn how to make the reads and everything like that. That's why they say the biggest jump comes between year one and year two for quarterbacks in the NFL. And so, using your legs and your athleticism buys you some time that you normally don't get just handed to you as a young NFL player. So, oh, I lost my stream here. Hold on, let me get this settled. Nope, that's not working. Well, the Manning cast is working. Why isn't the... Interesting. Let's see if I can get this fixed before we get back to it here. Or we'll watch the Manning cast. Can do that too. The main problem with Richardson is that he's playing a little reckless. He's trying to beat NFL defenders with athleticism. That won't happen. Says in high school or college. Yeah, that's what I was saying. I think that a lot of players don't realize that it's not even commiserate to playing in the SEC. You know what I mean? I mean, it's just a totally different world. It's literally taking the best player on every team across the SEC and putting them on the field against you. So yeah, he's not going to be able to win with his athleticism as much, but he it's the thing that's going to buy him some time and help him acclimate to playing in the NFL. So let's see, Milkman. No, the New England problem is that they don't have any good weapons. Same with Carolina. I don't know if I agree with that. I think New England has a lot of problems. I think not having any weapons is one of them, but they said they didn't have any weapons when they had Jacoby Myers too, and you know he's been pretty good in Las Vegas. So there we go. Okay, so that's working again. So let's switch back to that one. Okay. Sorry, trying to get my stream figured out. Okay, what game is next? Oh, Max Crosby is just a freak. So I'm at 14 minutes of the second quarter now. Oh my god, that's crazy. Outran the pulling blocker. Oh, he just got in there again. 3rd and 10 now for the Packers. Raiders only getting a point and a half right now, but I am keeping an eye on trying to get the Raiders plus some points. So that's an annoying play call on 3rd and 11. That's a I don't trust my quarterback play call on 3rd and 11. Yeah, I hate that call a lot. All right, I'm going to take a quick commercial break along here with them. After that punt, we'll be right back. Hi, welcome back, everybody. Monday Night Football next week. Cowboys, Chargers. It should at least be entertaining. We'll see. All right, Giants and Dolphins is the next game. Milkman. Oh, I'll get to the Broncos. Don't you worry, Gabs. Milkman, I think the NFL should run more options and motion to help young QBs because you have a better chance at getting TDs and passing yards. If you mean like RPOs, just depends on the offense um, that the coaches run. There's ways to make every offense QB friendly or friendlier for QBs. You know what I mean? Um, you can scheme a lot of stuff to make it simpler, but you have to have the will and the want to actually do that. And some coaches are just too stubborn. Like, well, he's got to learn how to do it my way. He's got to learn how to do my thing. Um, when if I think personally, if you make it easier for him and let him get more snaps and see more defenses and more reads and stuff like that, then you know put him in a better situation. What the hell was that play call? Yeah, but if you're Josh Jacobs, they're saying smart job by not throwing it back to Garoppolo, which is right, but just throw it out of bounds then. Don't take a loss. Like you can throw the ball, right? 3rd and 10 now. Okay. Frank Reich is the guy who makes everything harder for the QB. Yeah, maybe. When Carolina signed him, I felt bad for them. Now they're asking for his head in week 5. Well, it's. I don't think any. I'm surprised at how good CJ Stroud is, but I mean, you heard me say that before. So I didn't think with either of these quarterbacks that were coming in for this year's class that you were going to be, and that includes Anthony Richardson, who went higher than I expected him to, and has looked good. But I didn't expect any of the quarterbacks to come out guns blazing and be super impressive. So I think in Carolina, you knew you had a tough year ahead of you. You just want to see progress, and I don't know necessarily that you've seen that yet. All right, then. How about this? Since all these high pick QBs are doing bad, not all of them, but some, should NFL coaches start thinking about drafting QBs in the later round because of people like Patrick, Tom, and Brock? By Patrick, do you mean Patrick Mahomes? Because he was a first round pick. He got picked at like 10, 15, 15 maybe. Um, no, so I've talked about it on the stream before. You can point to late round quarterbacks that have worked, like Dak or Tom or whoever. Was it 10 Gabs? Um, you can point to late round quarterbacks that work. What people don't see, people just look at the number of starting quarterbacks in the league that are late round quarterbacks and say like, "Oh, well, why not do that?" What they don't see is the number of quarterbacks taken in the later rounds, which is significantly higher. So your hit rate on quarterbacks in the later rounds is significantly lower compared to the number of quarterbacks that get drafted. Your hit rate on quarterbacks that get drafted in the first round or up high is higher It's still low, right? It's still a crapshoot. You still don't know if you're getting Jamarcus Russell or Josh Allen. Um, but the success rate is higher in the first round than it is in the later rounds. I am waiting for the day. There will come a day where a team basically just says all that matters is getting the quarterback right. And they take a quarterback in the first round, the second round, the third round, the fourth round, the fifth round, the sixth round, and the seventh round. And when the Bills could not find their quarterback, I was a huge proponent of them doing that. Like, take 6 quarterbacks. And you've got camp to whittle it down to 3. And then once you get it down to 3, you got a whole year, more than that even maybe, to figure out who's your guy. But it's, I mean, watching this game between the Packers and the Raiders, is it not clear how important it is to have that dude? I mean, it's so hard to watch this football game. So if you admit that to yourself and admit that every time you take a quarterback, your chance of hitting overall, finding a guy, pulling a Kirk Cousins out of a Robert Griffin Kirk Cousins situation, who, listen, Kirk Cousins isn't great. Well, some people would argue that he's great. He's not a game changer in my opinion, but he's a good quarterback. So, why wouldn't you take a quarterback with every draft pick and see if you could figure it out? The bust chance is also as high in the first round than compared to the later rounds if it's low risk too. I don't know that I understand what you're saying, Milk. Yeah, there is still a very high bust percentage on first round quarterbacks. But the chance that you hit, there at least is a higher percentage chance that works out than there is on low round quarterbacks. And we're talking like there's like a 5 to 10% hit chance for quarterbacks taken in the first round, and there's like a 0.05 hit chance on quarterbacks drafted in late rounds. Do you know how many quarterbacks get drafted every year in the late rounds and are sitting on practice squads or, never even make a team? Happens all the time. So, and nobody ever talks about them because they're not expected to come in and do anything like the first round busts are. But did you watch Jake Fromm play for the New York Giants last year? You know what I mean? Do you know who Zach Dysert is? It's just there's a ton of guys that get drafted in late rounds as quarterbacks who aren't Brock Purdy or Tom Brady. Yeah, I agree with that. Getting the right offensive minds around them is more important than getting the right rookie. Yeah, because there's very few players who are so talented that they can elevate a bad coaching staff. But there are a lot of coaching staffs that can elevate an average quarterback. Not the least of which is your guy Kyle Shanahan in San Francisco, Milk. So okay, Milkman. So in the later rounds you pick a QB and he's a bust, then it's really not that bad for you because you only wasted a 7th round pick. But if you draft a first round QB and he's a bust, then it's horrible for you. I mean, look at Cleveland and their draft history. I understand what you're saying there. Technically, that's right, but that changed a whole lot when the rookie wage scale got put in and you stopped paying these guys $70 million contracts right out of college. Now it's a huge advantage to pick a quarterback in the first round because you have cost control over them for 5 years. And if you draft them in any other round, you only get cost control over 4 years. So it doesn't ruin your team as much as it used to. But I understand what you're saying. But to me, that's just another reason. If you're saying we need a quarterback in the draft this year, only pick quarterbacks. You know what I mean? Just pick quarterbacks. Like, and it doesn't actually have to be every single round, but pick 4 guys. Pick 4 rookie quarterbacks and see if one of them impresses you in practice so much. I do when I fill in, I do a show with a guy named Tyler Columbus. He was offensive tackle for a bunch of teams, but it includes the Broncos and the Redskins, and he was there when Robert Griffin III was drafted, and Kirk Cousins was there. And I asked him, I'm like, did you guys see Kirk Cousins being Kirk Cousins, being the better of the two of them? Did you guys want him on the field? And he's like, immediately in practice, we knew that Kirk was going to be a good NFL quarterback, and we questioned how good Robert was going to be. And the coaching staff knew it, and the players knew it, but because of where Griffin was drafted, he obviously gets first crack at it. But eventually you see that they switch to Kirk Cousins because he's a better player. And so if you drafted 4 quarterbacks, if you're going to draft 1, draft 4. And just let them go. Figure out who you got. You know what I mean? I would spend a top pick on it. I would spend my first round draft pick on it. But, yeah, and I would listen. If I pick a first round quarterback and he's angry that I picked 3 other quarterbacks instead of being like, I'm going to kick their ass, so you wasted 3 picks. There they are in the end zone. Hey, look, Jacoby Myers, one of those weapons from New England that is no good. Yeah, so if I draft a quarterback and he's upset that I draft 3 other quarterbacks, then he's not the guy that I want leading my team anyway. That hurts, though, because I was trying to get Raiders plus points. So they are now minus 3.5. 4 minutes and 9 seconds, though, which is a great amount of time if you're the Packers to just run your regular offense and still try to get a score before half. So, okay. Got sidetracked talking quarterbacks. Let's, I remember what game was next. It's the Giants and the Dolphins. Also played out kind of how everybody expected it to. No surprises there. You wonder if at some point Dable tries Tyrod Taylor as a starting quarterback instead of Daniel Jones. Technically, Daniel Jones got benched, but they were getting their butts kicked. Saquon's probably back this week. Tyrod going back to Buffalo. I don't know. Tyrod's going back to Buffalo. Dable going back to Buffalo. Showing their general manager going back to Buffalo. Maybe they want to say, hey, let's go full revenge game here. They have been the worst offense in the league. I don't know by far, though, because have you watched the New England Patriots play? I submit for your consideration the New England Patriots offense. Mentioned it last week, though. I mean, I think the Dolphins have a real good team. I had no doubt that they would bounce back. And now on top of the AFC East after a just dreadful day in London for the Bills. So you got to be feeling good if you're a Dolphins fan. Tua been able to stay healthy. His biggest challenge was against the Bills. They were the only ones who really slowed him down and hit him a bunch. And they just had very unique talent to handle that situation. Part of that talent is now gone with Trey White and Matt Milano both being out for the season. So when they match up again, um, Bills might not be as able to stop them as they were this last time. Um, so it's just an interesting situation that they find themselves in, where I think it takes a very unique skill set to stop them, and I don't know how many teams have it. And guess what game is next to talk about? New England and New Orleans. For everybody hanging in here, appreciate the people watching. If you got any bets on the game, let me know. Lines flipped to Vegas minus 3.5. Hoping that the Packers can put up some points before half here. We'll see. Gabs, can I say something? Do you need to ask permission for that? Yeah, of course you can. Yeah, what you got, Gabs? I'm underrating the Saints. Listen, I think the Saints have a spectacular defense, and uh, I really like a couple of their wide receivers. Oh boy, pick six? Nope, just pick red zone, picking goal, picking goal to go. Um, Listen, if that offense starts to hit its stride now that Kamara's back, um, if Derek Carr gets healthier, um, yeah, I will not hesitate to give them credit where it is due. I just don't think I don't think the Patriots are very good. And if you look at all the teams that the Saints have played so far this season, it's the Panthers, the Patriots, the Packers. I mean, their schedule is. I don't think they've beaten anybody worthwhile. Uh, I don't think they've lost to anybody worthwhile. So, they're going to have to prove it to me. I am not a huge fan of Derek Carr. Um, yeah, they're going to have to prove it to me. It's funny, the two of you saying things that I agree with both of them, because I absolutely don't mind watching the Patriots lose by 35 one week and 34 the next. Oh, can the Packers hold here? That's big. If Packers can hold them to just a field goal here, that is massive. But if you're LaFleur, do you have enough confidence in Jordan Love to turn him loose, try to get points before the half? I probably would have used the timeout here if I'm the Packers. I definitely use one here if I stop them on third down. Tip ball on the screen, and you won't have to because they threw the ball. So there you go. Yeah, I want Bill Belichick to suck forever, so that's fine with me. But it shows you how codependent coach is on the players that you have around now. Now listen, I think Bill Belichick, the coach, is still a very good coach. I think Bill Belichick, the GM, has been a nightmare for a decade. So, um, if you great job by the Packers to hold them to 3. I mean, that is a massive win for them. Keep it a one-score game. Mark Davis just shaking his head. His smoking hot wife. Why wasn't I born into being a billionaire? I constantly ask myself. Milkman, they'll be like the Cowboys. I don't even know that they'll be like the Cowboys, Milk. you know. Um, Jerry Jones has figured some things out over his years of meddling, and they put together some decent teams. Uh, I think he gets too in love with mediocre quarterbacks. I'll tell you that. But um, it'll be interesting to see what Bill Belichick does because there's lots of talk about how he needs to get fired. And I don't think he can handle getting fired. So he'll resign, of course. Um, but when is the question? Does he try to fight uh, ownership on it at some point? And then when he does, what does he do? Does he turn in? Does he go be like GM somewhere? Because I could see him turning into just a front office guy. I could also, I mean, listen, he can get a coaching job anywhere he wants, right? So whatever job is open at the time, if they've got a great quarterback, he can pick his spot. You know, the Chargers fire Staley next year, and Belichick resigns from the Patriots. You think that the Chargers wouldn't hire him immediately? You know what I mean? So, Nicholas, thanks for jumping in the chat. Appreciate you hanging out. Let's see. How much does eyeballs cost in Ohio? About a buck an eye. Is that a Ohio State Buckeyes dad joke? I am wearing a Buckeyes shirt. I am not actually a Buckeyes fan. I do a trip every year to go see NFL and a college game in the same weekend. And so we just try to go to like the coolest colleges that we can. So one year we did Cleveland and Ohio State. And so every time I go somewhere, I buy gear. So I've got some LSU gear, got some Arizona State gear. Um, yeah, it's a fun little weekend trip we do. So, but that's why I've got this Buckeyes shirt. It's not because I'm a Buckeyes fan. Let's see. He can be the next Bama head coach after Saban retires. I don't know. I don't think his style would work in the college football ranks. I also don't know that he's got the personality or stamina to go recruit and get money. I think there's a reason that Saban's good in college, and I think there's a reason that Belichick is still in the NFL. He might be able to get money and recruit just based on name alone, but that only will last for so long. And if he runs that kind of hard ass style that he runs, I don't know. Would you rather, as a 18-year-old kid, go play for Deion Sanders or Bill Belichick? Take your pick, you know? Did Ricky Williams go to Ohio State, or is that just how he rolls leaves? Man, Nicholas. Well, I mean, listen, you just keep throwing the hits out there. I'm happy for you. You're welcome in my chat anytime. Am I a big dad joke fan? Not really. Milk. Well, part of it is because of Tom Brady, because he was able to win another Super Bowl without Bill. Yeah, listen, great quarterbacks can elevate average or good head coaches. I think Bruce Arians is a good head coach. Um, but good quarterbacks can elevate average head coaches, um, and good coaches can elevate average quarterbacks. You know what I mean? Um, when you find a good coach and a great quarterback to put together, you get what they had. But there's been a lot of great quarterbacks who did not dominate for 20 years. You know what I mean? So if you want to talk about Tom Brady being great, that's fine. But that dynasty had like 3 separate runs in it. Um, 2 times that they won 3 Super Bowls and twice that they made it and lost. But there were like 3 different eras of that dynasty, and all of them were like ridiculously good. Um, so, everybody's saying, "Oh, do we give the credit to Bill or Tom?" Like both. The answer is both. They were both very good. Um, but yeah, I mean, I don't know with Bill the game. Maybe he just doesn't have the fire anymore. Professor X, what's up? Thanks for jumping in. I am not allowed to show the games anymore. I got pinched, got in trouble. So I knew it would happen at some point. If you watch the games, you knew I mentioned to you when I got in trouble I was going to stop showing them. So yeah, no games. No games anymore, just watch along. If you need somewhere to watch it as it says on the screen, you can shoot me a DM and just tell me in the chat where you're DMing me, and I'll tell you how I watch it. So you're welcome to use that. And if you want to just keep the chat open and hang out with us and talk ball a little bit, you're welcome to do that as well. So Gabs, yeah, I mean about that New Orleans game, I don't know. I'm not exactly sold on New Orleans being good. I am sold on New England being bad, though. So, all right. What's the next game? Last one we'll get to before the half is Baltimore and Pittsburgh. That game was crazy but fun. I still don't think the Steelers are that good. I mentioned on the NFL pregame show that we do Sunday mornings. Yeah, fun, Gabs, fun. I mentioned on the pregame show that we do Sunday mornings that those games are always stupid and come down to a field goal, and that the Ravens like to play down to their competition, and that's exactly what they did on Sunday. Yeah, of course Canada wasn't happy about the win, Milkman. You want to know why he wasn't happy about the win? Because aside from a long touchdown pass to George Pickens, that offense was atrocious. It was horrid. It was so bad. So, yeah, of course Canada's not happy with the win. But the Ravens just have a way of playing down to their competition for years now. They've always done it. And it costs them a few games every year. And now they should be 3-0 in the division, winning all 3 road games, and first place in the AFC North. And instead, the Steelers are in first place in the AFC North. Steelers are their daddy. That is how it is. Yeah, I mean, I guess you can say that. I don't believe that. I think the Ravens do that all the time. They did it to your Colts, Gabs. The Ravens are a better team than your Colts, and just played down to their competition. What the hell are the Raiders doing? Why didn't they take a time out there? Ugh. I haven't been to Vegas in a long time. It's on the list. I got to go do like a real Vegas trip. Couple G's to burn, that kind of thing. Lamar only beat the Steelers once. He's also only played them like 3 times. That was the craziest stat that came out yesterday for me, Gabs. Was that Lamar Jackson's been so injured that he's played the Steelers like 3 times. And I think a couple of those were during the COVID year. So that stat was just wild to me. But yeah, dude, the fourth quarter was fun. Did you watch the fourth quarter of that game? It was fun. Blocked punt. Like, you just knew something stupid was going to happen to get you where you needed to go in terms of it being a close game that the Ravens fumble away. Ravens had all kinds of opportunities to score and just didn't get the job done. I'm a Lamar fan too. Yeah, I mean, And he missed a couple throws too. I mean, give him a fair amount of the blame, Gabs. I am a Lamar fan too, but give Lamar a fair amount of the blame. He missed a couple throws too. It's just, you know, they just constantly play down to their competition. They get a punt blocked for a safety, pick it to Pickens on a long touchdown pass, and all of a sudden the game's over, you know? I think that's what's happening in Carolina, Milk, but they don't have their first round pick, but I think they want their second round pick to be at the top of the second round. You know what I mean? There's been a couple of them, like the Eberflus decision versus the Broncos, to not kick a field goal and go ahead. Instead, try to go for it on fourth down to quote unquote win the game. Um, Buck and Aikman are talking about them not taking a timeout there. Oh yeah, Milk. We'll get to that game. That'll be in the second half. We'll talk about that game. We'll do all the afternoon and late games in the second half, and hand the ball off. God, talk about not trusting your quarterback. Why trade Derek Carr for Jimmy Garoppolo if you're not going to? I know it wasn't actually a trade. I just mean trade them out. Um, if you're not going to trust him to run your offense, like that's the whole point. Is that you brought him in because he knows Josh McDaniels' offense. Are the Packers thinking about getting the ball back here? I mean, you got two timeouts. Can you sneak a field goal in here? The ineptitude of these two offenses. Oof. 'Big gain. All right, so now you're in range for getting in range for a field goal. 31 seconds. You got two timeouts. Did you catch this? Yeah, sure did. Yeah. And you need probably what, 15, 20 yards here? Try a field goal. 35 seconds left, not 31. At least on my clock here. Oh, what a catch. Into triple coverage. Take another timeout. So they got to go sideline or end zone here because they're out of timeouts. But you have enough time to take a couple shots from what, the 30, 42? You probably want another 10 yards for the field goal. Oh, wow. Throwing it into the middle of the field is a choice. Clock it with 15 seconds left. Timeout Packers. All right, so you're at the 35. I think if I'm Josh McDaniels, I'm calling a shot to the end zone. You got 15 seconds. And then if you miss it, kick the field goal and kick it off. I don't know that I'm trying to pick up a first down here. I don't want to risk clocking that ball. So now you're 4th and 3. That little boot pass is not what I had in mind. Oh. Lil John on the sideline. That's fun. Let it get a little chippy. I'll take some of that. Trying to ice the kicker. Yeah, we'll talk about the Broncos in the second half, but this is what the Broncos are right now. There you go. And he missed it. The kid's crying in his lap, too. Oh, yeah. 73. Yeah. Just a little bit of it. somebody let the family know. Take a shot. See if you get a 30-yard pass here. Throw it, Jordan, or run and end the half. Not with a home clock operator, Jordan. Yeah, you're not going to get that second back with the home team running the clock there, buddy. Well, hasn't been that entertaining, but also hasn't sucked, so that's good. All right. As always, we'll take a little break for halftime. Go get yourself a drink, some food, whatever. And we will be back before the second half starts. Yeah, I'll see you guys in a few minutes. All right, everybody, welcome back. Hope you had a nice little break. Hit the bathroom, get a little food, watch Michelle Beisner Buck awkwardly interview Jack Eichel because she doesn't have any behind the desk chops because she's a sideline reporter. And Scott Van Pelt was sick today. Yikes. Um, ready to get the second half fired up. I can't remember who gets the ball, but we could go for the Packers figuring it out a little bit here. They're getting 6.5 is in line right now. Packers plus 6.5. Total is 34. I kind of want to bet the total. Always more scoring in the second half. Let's see if I can get something different than 34. Oh, yeah, there we go. 36 is plus 110. Let's do that. Just, just for fun. I got a bonus bet to burn. I'll throw it down on the over in the game, which is right now at 34.5. I bet it at 36.5, banking on that there's always more scoring in the second half. Clearly, with 13 points on the board. Couple teams, both teams were down in the red zone. So we'll see. Maybe they figure it out. Okay. All right. Got to pull up. Tell me who you like. The Raiders finish it out. Do the Packers figure it out in the second half? The running game was okay on the first couple drives. Jordan Love has looked less than inspiring, let's say. But the Raiders certainly don't strike any fear in me. And without that pick six, 7-3 is really what the score is. Or not pick six, that pick goal line, pick red zone. By the way, the Golden Knights gold jerseys are ugly as hell, and I hate that they continue to wear them regularly. The gray ones are hot. I like the like graphite color jerseys that they have, and they switch to gold as their main color, and it looks like, I don't know. It looks like they're trying to go to a drag brunch or something, if you ask me. And I like their whites too. But Devontae Adams, one target. And you're worried about Stephon Diggs throwing a tablet. Okay. See if the Raiders run away from the Packers here. They'll get the ball first. That's interesting. I couldn't remember who got the ball. Gabs, welcome back. No, the next game is Eagles Rams actually, which we'll get to after we kick off. Because why would we jump right to the juiciest story of the day? Why wouldn't we tease you a little bit? We'll get to it. You know we wrap up every game in the NFL. You've been around enough. Man, I hate that guy so much. Just a weaselly little. Little tight end screen to start it off with Austin Hooper. Apparently, they told Buck and Aikman that they want to get the tight ends more involved in the game, and they have two pretty good ones. Um, at least I think Meyer's going to be a good one, and Hooper's decent. So he's finding Jacoby Myers over the middle quite a bit. Packers need somebody to make a play. Don't let this, I almost said Oakland, Vegas offense get into rhythm, which it looks like they're starting to. Dingleberry, what's up, man? Glad you're back. Nice, there you go. There's somebody making a play for you. No, I don't think 49ers undefeated. If you saw my social media, I put out the pick that I had on that game. I don't think you were with us for the pregame show, were you? Yes, you were. Um, they will lose at some point, the Niners. But I told you I didn't think it was going to be yesterday. And that I liked the Niners by a whole lot. Oh, look at that. Packers interceptions their flag. Oh, they were whistling it like there was a flag. So many Packers fans in that stadium right now. Got to get six here if you're the Packers now. Totally flip the complexion of this game. Dingleberry, I told you, man, I was a huge fan. I just think it was a terrible matchup for the Cowboys yesterday. Um, Everything that the Cowboys are bad at defending, the 49ers are great at doing. Tight ends, running the football, both in between the tackles and off tackle runs. And they showed it yesterday. I mean, yesterday was a clinic on how to beat the uh, Dallas Cowboys. And so yeah, but we're not to that game yet, Dingleberry. Right now we're talking Eagles, Rams. And the Rams hung around more than I thought that they would. I think that Sean McVay deserves a lot of credit for what he's done with this young football team. The Rams came here for training camp practices, and I was shocked how much their roster had just evaporated. Um, so I think Sean McVay deserves a lot of credit, and it's helpful that you have a fantastic veteran on each side of the ball, and Aaron Donald and Matthew Stafford, to kind of show these kids how to do it right. But I think he deserves a lot of credit for that team being. Do I want to say good? I want to say good. Should I say good? I don't know if I should say good, but I want to say good. A lot of football left, Gabs. Niners look so much better than the Eagles. I don't think the Eagles have a chance against the Niners. A lot of football left, man. You have no idea what it's going to look like 12 weeks from now. You got 3 months of football and injuries. You know, having enough tape to really break down what they want to do on these offenses. Remember, there's a new play caller in Philly, so figuring out ways to stop that offense happens when you've got enough tape. And Brock Purdy's still a young quarterback, man. So trying to break down his tape to figure out what his weaknesses are and force him into making mistakes. These D coordinators in the NFL know what they're doing, man. They will figure out how to slow down these offenses. So a lot of football left before I can tell you who I think, is my favorite to come out of the NFC. At the end of the day, I think the two of them are going to be there, and I think it's the two of them and not much else in the NFC. But yeah, I mean, props to the Eagles. They've got a fantastic offensive line. DeAndre Swift is reborn. That's fun to watch. He's playing like a boss. Yeah. And I love their defense, too. I love the Eagles' defense. Gabs. Let's just slow your roll there. Starting to sound like Milkman here. Listen, man, it's an NFC East battle, and those games are always intense. So if the Cowboys beat the Eagles, I wouldn't be shocked. I also don't think the Eagles are going undefeated, much like I don't think the Niners are going undefeated. But, I hate that you. So now you're going to kick a field goal, Green Bay? No, he's going for it. Let's go. I hated that call on third down, but if you called it knowing you were going to go for it on fourth down, I don't hate it quite as much. This is a free possession, right? You got a turnover. Run the ball, get the first down. Nice job. It's a huge pickup for the Packers. Feel like you got to get 7 here. Yeah, Gabs, listen, the Cowboys can beat the Eagles, but will they? I don't know. Like, are they capable of it? Sure. I would have said that I was more apt to say something like that before they lost Trayvon Diggs for the year. I'll tell you that much. Packers trying to pound the rock. So yeah, I mean, listen, I think the Eagles are a power in that conference, but I think the most pressing question that you'll have for the NFC all season long is, does that last game that we all think is coming come in Philadelphia, or does it come in San Francisco? That's really the question, and I think it does make a difference. A.J. Dillon down inside the 10. Punch it in, Pack. For my bets, I got Packers money line and have been watching. I also now have bet the over 36.5. It was 34, but it was minus 120, so I bet it up to 36. So touchdown here makes me a very happy boy as a way to start the half. Okay, let's see. Next is Bengals and Cardinals. Listen, man, the Bengals, I don't know what to do with them, man. It looked like Burrow was starting to catch fire. Just, one of those jet engines about to light. And all of a sudden, the Cardinals are just there. A lead a couple times, keeping it close. Bengals end up pulling away at the end, but get in. Touchdown. I need 17 more points. Let's go. Well, I need 18 more points, but they got to kick the extra point, so. Nice run there. Look at him. He is sucking wind, but there you go. Feature back. Okay, now I need 17 more points. Love that. Love everything about that. All right. So what were we talking? Oh, we were talking Bengals, Cardinals. Yeah. And listen, I feel like I say it every week. I feel like I'm a broken record, but the Cardinals deserve a lot of credit. What Jonathan Gannon is doing with that team, who everybody thought was garbage and tanking, has been impressive. I know they still have, I think, just one win, but they're going. Their schedule has been tough, and they're going toe to toe with these teams. It's impressive. I don't know what to do with the Bengals. It looked like they had figured it out at the beginning of that game, and then all of a sudden it didn't. You know what I mean? It looked like they figured it out until it didn't. So, don't tell me my stream is giving me a hard time now. Okay. Gabs, I'm picking the Lions over the Eagles right now. I'm so down on them. And Milkman says same. I think the Lions should win that one. That would surprise me. Two really good defenses, and I think the Eagles' offense is better than the Lions' offense. But that'll be, listen, if that ends up being a matchup, that'll be a fun game. I think the Lions have a better shot of beating the Eagles than they do with the Niners. I'll say that much. But Yeah, I mean, listen, if there's a team that can assert itself as the number 3 team in the NFC, um, I think it's the Lions. And the reason is because I think the Cowboys are going to have to go on the road. I think the Cowboys are going to be a wild card team. Uh, so if you're talking about who's that third team in the NFC, the the Lions to me have a big advantage in that they can win that division, should win that division, looks like, and then get a home playoff game and won't have to play either the Niners or the Eagles till the second round. It's possible that Cowboys end up having to play either the Eagles or the Niners in the first round. So when you're talking about a third team in that conference establishing themselves, the Lions just have a easy reason to pick them right now. Oh, the official over under now 37 and a half, so I got it a half point below what it is now, so that makes me feel good. Packers plus 1.5 right now on the spread. Oof. Glad you didn't get a flag on that. A little bit late of a hit, but I would have called it fine. But who knows what roughing the passer is anymore. So I'm glad there was no flag on that. Let's see. Milkman. Why do I feel like this is about to be a trolling statement? All I got to say is that the AFC needs to find that second team to compete with Kansas because I don't the AFC to have another dynasty after the previous one washed out. Oh, you don't want the AFC to have another dynasty after the one washed out? We need an NFC dynasty this year. This year? Um, yeah, listen, I agree with Gabs. I mean, I think the Bengals and Bills can be challengers for the Chiefs. I think the Dolphins can get to a spot where they can beat the Chiefs in the playoffs. Um, I will just say again, and it's not that he won't win it, but Patrick Mahomes has never played a road playoff game. Never. So the Bills need to stop having stupid losses places. The Bengals need to stop getting off to slow starts. And somebody needs to win that number 1 seed and force not only the Chiefs to have to play a first round playoff game, have to play a wild card playoff game, but also have to play a road playoff game eventually. And neither of those teams have been able to force them to do it. So you absolutely have a dynasty in Kansas City. And I don't think you're going to do anything to stop that. I mean, that is locked in. Uh, Bills playing better through the first 5 weeks. Yeah, I mean, listen, I know Gabs, you or not Gabs, Milk. I know you want to troll about that game over in London. Again, feel free. Bills did not look good and come back super injured, but I just I'm not concerned that they played poorly over there. If they come back on Sunday night and play poorly on Sunday night, then I'm concerned. But I'm not concerned about the fact that they played poorly over in London. So, man, everything's crashing. So listen, I mean, we'll see. Allen has to elevate his game. Burrow has to elevate his game. But to be honest with you, Kansas City does not look as good as they have in years past. Their offense is struggling. Their wide receivers are struggling. They'll figure it out because they got Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. So I'm not saying that this is a down year for them, but yeah, I don't think they're as dominant as they have been in years past. In fact, I think their defense looks better, and they're still not quite that dominant. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, we'll see. And when you talk about having dynasties in the NFC, listen, I think Eagles and Niners are going to be the talk for the next few years here. Lions might insert themselves into that conversation. But then when you look around the NFC, I mean, who else are you talking about? Oh, big play. Get in the end zone. Get in the end zone. Oh, that's a horse collar penalty. But you do that instead of giving up a touchdown for sure. So I do think you have a shot to have a quote unquote dynasty in the NFC. Because I mean, let's talk about who's going to jump up and challenge these guys. I mean, maybe if Arizona gets Caleb Williams, right? Caleb Williams can swing this. Drake May can swing this. But, brutal. That was ugly. Can we get a play action play, please? Instead of just ramming it up the middle every time. But yeah, I mean, for this year and next year, unless the Lions do something spectacular, and I don't know that with Jared Goff, I trust them to do that. As much as I like Goff and as much as I like the Lions, for them to beat either the Eagles or the Niners and insert themselves into that conversation to be an NFC champ, I don't see it. Not this year, but maybe, the thing that the Lions have that is endearing is that they are tough. I know they want to run the ball more, which they've been okay at, but their defense is good. But here's the thing: the two top teams in the NFC, it's not the Bills and the Bengals, man. You know what I mean? Bills and the Bengals, their defenses are good. Bills' defense is good. Bengals' defense is underrated. But those teams run through their offense. The Eagles and the 49ers, man, those are great defensive teams, great teams at running the ball. The NFC is a slobber knocker, no doubt. Go for it. It's taking the points. Saved him 4 points. Yeah, I should not just talk back and forth with Joe and Troy. Um, Joe Buck said the horse collar tackle, yeah, saved him 4 points. Because he's going to score, right, if you don't grab him by the neck. So grab him by the neck. 14 more points. Let's go. Raiders plus 2.5 right now. It's not quite enough for me. See if I can get a little bit more out of that. I know how you feel about analytics, but Goff and the Lions have been killing it, and the Eagles, What do you want to say about the Eagles, Gab? Say it, man. Like, not looking very good on the offensive side of the ball. I disagree with that. I really disagree with that. I mean, have you watched them play? Like DeAndre Swift looks like a monster. I trust Devontae Smith and AJ Brown to figure it out. And they always have the threat of Hurts running the ball. So I don't know. I disagree with you. Not to mention that their offensive line is phenomenal. It's one of the best in the league. So I disagree with you. Now, if you want to tell me that right now you're thinking the Lions have a better chance to beat the Eagles than they do to beat the Niners, that I'll listen to. That I'm with. I believe that. But, you know. And here's the thing, and this is what I was saying. So, like, let's have a real conversation about what we think the up-and-coming teams are. So, like last year, we talked about, oh, well, the Lions, they look like they're starting to figure it out, right? Who's that up-and-coming team now? Now that the Lions look like they've figured it out. You know? It's not the Saints, which I know you is somebody that you like, Gabs. Like who's that team that's like got a young quarterback and might all of a sudden evolve into the next force, the next Eagles, the next Niners? I mean, Caleb Williams and Drake May might swing that. Arizona looks like they got a pretty good team, even though they're at the top of that draft. So you put Drake May in there, and maybe they all of a sudden are real good. But Seattle, if Seattle could somehow get to the top of the draft and take one of those guys, but they need more from the quarterback position. I think they've got great weapons, but they need more from the quarterback position. Um, Washington. Uh, they got a great defensive line. They got decent weapons. Their offensive line leaves some to be desired. Same thing with their defensive backfield. Yeah, I mean, listen, if you put a great quarterback in there, if they end up with, a Caleb Williams or a Drake May or something like that, that's a team that could turn around and start taking swings at people. But I'd say the same thing about the Giants, you know. But, that's anybody. If you find that great quarterback, filling in the other pieces aren't that hard. Oh, yeah. Look at that. Jacobs with a huge run. Um, yeah, listen, man. Any team, if you get the guy at quarterback, filling in the other positions is not as difficult. Still hard, but not as difficult as finding the quarterback position. So, uh, no QB could play in the Giants' offensive line. Daniel Jones was being pressured 40% of the time. This is literally unplayable. That is not 100% true, Gabs. I mean, I understand what you're saying, and there is validity to your point, but um, there you can slow down a rush by having hot routes, having quick reads, and getting the ball out of your hand. And when you're a quarterback who doesn't process fast enough, that's a problem, right? Now, having a guy like Saquon Barkley helps too. Can you slow the rush down by running right at them and making them pause, hesitate a second, so they're not just pinning their ears back and coming after you? Giants haven't been able to do that this year, but these are all things that can lead to the receiver drops the ball. Yeah, I mean, listen, man, I hear you. I just what do I want to say? I want to say that a great quarterback can make an average or an average offensive line good, or a bad offensive line average. Um, so, you know, oof, almost a pick six there. I hope to say the Bears when you were asking about up and coming teams in the NFC, but this that isn't the case anymore. Maybe the Rams, if they trust their QB, they pick in last year's draft. Stetson Bennett. Stetson Bennett's not doing anything in the NFL. Listen, man, the Bears have some guys. They have some dudes. Um, they've got a bunch that they have to figure out. They are not a good team right now. But I don't believe in Justin Fields. So I'm of the mindset of if they swap Justin Fields with Caleb Williams or something like that, can they be a 8-8 team or 8-9 team? And we're talking about them being the next thing. Yeah, sure. Yeah, of course they can. But I don't like their head coach personally. I don't know if he survives the year anyway. Um, they're starting to feed the ball to Davante Adams now. Finally, Josh McDaniels calling specific plays for him. Um, I don't like the Bears head coach, but I think they'll have a new one by the time next year rolls around. You put a good young quarterback in there. Um, you know, Bears and the Cardinals trade quarterbacks with each other. How does that sound? You know, it's going to be real interesting with Kyler Murray. Clearly, he's not going to stay in Arizona, right? Is he a great quarterback? No. Is he one of the most physically gifted quarterbacks to ever play? Yeah. So he'll be a fun experiment to plug in somewhere and see if you can get a coach to mature him and unlock him mentally, um, to get back to where he was. Remember how good the Cardinals were a couple years ago? 7-0, 8-0, something like that. They lost that Thursday night game, I think, to the Packers. Who won like 10, 11 games, something like that. Like, he's got potential to be a good quarterback. Yeah, was that 2021, Gabs? So I think Arizona's going to start over. But I think that Kyler is a super interesting piece for a team that feels like they've got everything but the quarterback. He's a super interesting piece to plop down somewhere, because if you put him with the right, like, could you imagine Kyler Murray with Kyle Shanahan or Kyler Murray with Mike McDaniel? You know what I mean? No, it was against the Rams. That Thursday night game that they lost? I swear it was the Packers. Big third down here. To Davante Adams. To the 2. Yeah, no, it was a loss to Green Bay. Don't you be a hater. Bang. One, two, three, four, five, six, 7 wins. And then a loss to Green Bay on a Thursday night. And I think this is where Kyler was hurt. But they end up going 11-6. Beat Dallas in the first round of the playoffs. Oh no, that's preseason. Postseason. Lost to the Rams in the playoffs. So okay, so that's what you were talking about, Milkman. They lost the playoff game to the Rams. I was talking about how um, they were 7-0 till they lost to Green Bay on that Thursday night. So uh, Kyler Murray was good when they had D Hop. When D Hop got injured, he fell off. Yeah, I mean, listen, that's what I'm saying. Like, but if you put him on a team where you believe, like put him on the Seahawks, dude. Like, think about that. The weapons they have, the running game they have, their defense is getting better, and all of a sudden, like you're not giving up. Well, you might have to give up draft picks for him, but I'm saying you don't have to pick him. You know what I mean? You don't have to pick a quarterback and hope. You just take a guy who's an established, good NFL quarterback, above average NFL quarterback, um, and plop him in. Drop him into the lineup, and all of a sudden, you know, you're in a great situation. Yeah, Seahawks might be my favorite place for that now that I'm thinking about it. Um, but a spot like Miami or something like that. Yeah, I know. I know that's the knock on a Milkman, but listen, man. Um, everybody can be humbled, and it happens in different ways, and everybody matures differently at different times. Um, I'm not willing to say that he'll never figure it out. Geno Smith better than Kyler Murray. Get out. I don't believe that for a second. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see if Kyler ever grows up, but I just think I think he's a very interesting case for plop him into touchdown Raiders. Plop him on a team that already has everything else and just needs a quarterback, and then that's the team that you can talk about being like a surprise in the NFC or a surprise in the AFC. That's the kind of scenario that I think needs to happen. In terms of like developmental guys, I don't think Bryce Young is it. Sorry. The other two young QBs in this draft went to um, AFC teams. What about last year? Yeah, I just can't think of any young NFC teams that I'm like, oh yeah, maybe they figure it out. Yeah, Green Bay could be one of those teams. I think Green Bay has dismantled a little bit more than somebody like the Seahawks have. Seahawks got rid of Russell Wilson and picked up a whole bunch of assets for it and are better for it now. The Packers dumped Aaron Rodgers and then just let guys walk. Like they let Lazard walk. They got a first round pick for Devontae Adams, but I think two maybe. But you know, I just don't think they're in quite as good of a position as somebody like the Seahawks. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. A team like that you plop a decent quarterback in there, you could have an interesting couple weeks. Uh, oh shoot, I should have ran commercials when they were in commercials here. All right, let's see. I think it might be about time. Let's find out. Let's find out where we are on the list. Oh yeah, Gabs, it's time. Milkman, it's time. You're right. Next game on the docket: Denver Broncos and the New York Jets. The most dumpster fire of dumpster fires. Broncos have taken part in 2 toilet bowls in the past 3 weeks. Why am I getting karma for that? Getting beat by your ex must hurt for real. Uh, dude, he's just so easy to make fun of, isn't he? It's crazy. This is what I tell people. Like, you, man, if you're going to be as cheesy, as corny as he is, you better win. You better win. And, Gabs, I don't know if it's Broncos karma, but, like, dude, Hackett was an absolute disgrace here. I mean, it was bad. And don't get me wrong, it's still bad. But, I don't blame the Broncos for letting him go. Being around here, being this close to it, it was a nightmare in that building. So, yeah, you're right about that, Gabs. Sean Payton definitely talked too much. And, I said during the postgame show yesterday, like, he's just got to wear it now. Now you just got to wear it and eat your humble pie. Because the egomaniac is, yeah, eating it. Sean Payton isn't like you winning one Super Bowl doesn't mean you the GOAT. Wait, Milkman, I thought it was all about the rings. Hold on. Time out. didn't you didn't you say? So Sean Payton must be great. He's got a ring. That's all you judge it by, right? Um yeah, listen, man. Same thing as Russell Wilson, Sean Payton. If you're gonna do all that talking, better win. You better win. Because if you don't, it's gonna get ugly, man. And I don't blame anybody who wants to take shots at him or take shots at Russ. It's a real interesting scenario right now. Taking a shot. I don't think they have that much talent, Gabs. I think they have a couple good players. I think they have one great player and a couple good players. Um, but I think Giro Evero deserves a lot of credit last year, and I think Vic Fangio deserves the lion's share of the credit from 2 years ago. Um, yeah, I don't think they're great though. And listen, I really think Vance Joseph is struggling as a defensive coordinator. Um, I'm not a big Vance Joseph guy, and Sean Payton has even said in post game press conferences like, "Oh, we're not in the right spot. Our guys aren't lined up in the right spot. They're not in the right position." Well, that's a coaching problem. You know what I mean? That's a Vance Joseph problem, and he's said as much in the media. So, um, the Jets, I think maybe for me celebrated a little too much. You beat the 1-3 Broncos, who the Dolphins hung 70 on. So, you know, I wouldn't be having quite the party that they did, but they did get off the schneid, so good for them. They can find their way to a couple wins and find their way to a wild card spot. Aaron Rodgers coming back and possibly playing in the playoffs is an interesting little proposition. I don't know if the Jets can find their way to enough wins to get into a wild card spot, and I don't think that Aaron Rodgers will be back early enough to help them. You giving them the first down? Yeah, you are. I did, and he is, but don't go taking. I assume that's taking shots at if you suck, especially when you almost broke the NFL record for most points given up in a game. Yeah. No, I 100% agree with you. And if you're gonna take that shot, you better be 100% sure that your team is gonna be better, and they are not. So, also don't be cringe. To watch film and practice hard, stop kissing babies and making I mean, listen, that's what I'm saying about all the stuff that he said. He talked about being anonymous donors and getting off social media and all that kind of stuff. Sean Payton just talks so much, and I don't blame anybody who wants to take shots at him right now. I don't think they're going to get much, but I think they should fire sale. I think they should just dump everything and go to the bottom. I don't think there's enough talent I'm saying about some other teams. I don't think there's enough talent that if you just plop in a really good quarterback that this team is good. I don't think that's the case for these Broncos. So could be a couple tough years for the Broncos here. Be interesting. They need every win. Denver could get a lot of money out of tourism. Your UQB is feeling out of confidence. Come play the Broncos. Yeah, I mean, we were talking about it. Dingleberry. A-Rod said 2 weeks from now. Come on. Come on, man. There's no way Aaron Rodgers is playing in 2 weeks. Especially behind that offensive line. That's all beat up right now. He saw it in his visions. Gabs, listen, man, we were going down the schedule talking about where the Broncos could possibly find their next win. They do have the Packers in a couple weeks, but it's at Chiefs, Packers, Chiefs at home, Bills, and Minnesota, Cleveland. And, we were saying Kirk Cousins is looking at that Broncos game saying to himself, hey, there's a chance for me to get right. You know what I mean? Milkman, the GM for the Broncos is George Paton. And he probably gets fired at the end of the season here. I don't know why you would wait till the end of the season, but he probably gets fired at the end of the season. Talk about that sack, Gabs? Or are you ahead of me? You were ahead of me all day yesterday. Nope, you're talking about that pick that just happened. Yeah, we've been talking about how Mahomes doesn't quite have it all figured out. That offense has been struggling a little bit. What's a great week for them to get it right, get it figured out? Playing the Broncos on a Thursday night. 100%. I got to run some commercials while these guys are in commercial. I'll be right back, guys. All right, welcome back, everybody. So Vegas would love for them to go down and get some more points here, but don't want too many. Field goal here would be real nice, and then have the Packers go down and tie it. So I hit my over, and then Packers can win late or in overtime. Excellent. Sounds like a great plan. Let's do that. They're going to have to go mercy rule that game. That's if there's even a rule like that in the NFL. Definitely not a rule like that in the NFL. And if there was, the Broncos would have had it activated against the Dolphins, but it doesn't exist. Uh, Gabs, are you mocking me? Yeah, that's actually the next game on our ticker. Minnesota Vikings and Kansas City Chiefs, and the Chiefs did in fact cover, even though I didn't think they would. Um, Interesting pass interference call at the end. The refs allowing that guy to have, I think it was Sneed, to have his helmet off and not calling a flag on him for that. Uh, it's not a good look. I'll tell you that much. Definitely not a good look. All that said, Vikings, you got to make a couple plays, man. Like you're in that game. Um, I don't know. Then again, they play the Broncos, and Russ likes to throw picks. Russ is not the problem. At least that's what I think. Yeah, I mean, listen, he's not the problem. This is what I've been saying on the postgame show. He's not the problem, but he's also not the solution, right? Like he is not elevating the guys around him and making them better. Um, what up, 305? Thanks for jumping in. Broncos are suffering. He needs to lead. Um, Raiders taking a delay game, which I think is fine for them. I mean, that 5 yards doesn't matter. Yeah, listen, as far as Russell Wilson goes, he's not elevating anybody's game around him. So I don't think he's the problem. I also don't think he's the solution. Here's the thing, Gabs. He's playing fine. Like, he's not playing great, but he's fine. By the time you rebuild this team and get enough talent on this team for them to be competitive, a playoff team, maybe in a Super Bowl, he's 37, 38. Like, you're talking about a couple years down the road, and he's going to be old. So if you are going to tear this down and rebuild it, I think you got to do it without expecting that Russ is going to be your quarterback of the future. And listen, that could mean something like drafting one of the top guys this year and benching him for a year, right? Like, sit behind Russell Wilson and learn. And then in a couple years is when we put you in. So, yeah, I mean, listen, you're partially right. I don't think Russ is the problem. But also, everybody on this Bronco team deserves a little bit of blame for how bad this is, because it is bad. And Denver is a basketball city and a hockey city, and would be a baseball city if they had a good team, and would be a football city if they had a good team. It's a great sports town. It really is. Yeah, they have Jerry Jeudy. He's awesome. You know, it sounds a little tongue-in-cheek, 305. Not going to lie to you. Sounds a little tongue-in-cheek. He's probably one of the assets that you can at least get something for in terms of draft picks. I don't think you can get what the Broncos want. Rumor was they were asking for a first-round pick in the offseason for Jeudy. That ain't going to happen. But if they want a couple thirds or a third and a fourth or something like that, you might be able to squeeze that out of somebody. I think you're more likely to get a third, but I'd be surprised if it gets up to a second. It'd have to be a bidding war, but Milkman, Russ is like asphalt. It's his ass. And then Peyton's fault, I guess is what you're trying to say. Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's the problem. What changed from last year? They were supposed to be great last year with that roster. Well, I mean, there's a bunch of stuff. One, their offensive line wasn't as good as they thought it was, and we did talk about that all last offseason. That the offensive line was a big concern and that they didn't address it. And it turned out to be a disaster. And so they went and they spent a bunch of money on it in the offseason, and guess what? The two guys they spent a bunch of money on, also disasters. Mike McGlinchey and Ben Powers have not been good, not lived up to their contracts. And so it's been a big problem. You also had Tim Patrick, who I love. I think is a really good player, underrated, and went out with a torn Achilles last year and an ACL this year. You know? So there's some of the weapons. Last year, Javonte Williams had his knee blown up. He's looked good this year, but now out with a hip injury. In terms of their defense, I think last year they overachieved. I think Giro Evero deserves credit. I really think last year they overachieved a little bit, and then this year they're regressing and falling back, and then when things go bad, things get worse. You know what I mean? They start to snowball. So, dude, that's what I'm saying, Gabs. Everything is the problem. Everything's the problem. It's not one thing. It's not just Russell Wilson. It's not just the defense. It's not just the offensive line. This is truly a disaster that they have here in Denver. Packers can't get this ball moving and keep taking penalties. Milkman, I disagree, Rob. Pat Surtain can be 100%. Yeah, listen, Pat Surtain is their only asset that's really worth a lot. Everything else is worth mid-round picks. But yes, Patrick Surtain is the one valuable commodity that they have. You can ask probably for 2 first-round picks and some change for him. But you'll probably only get a first-round pick and some change for him because teams are going to know you're up against it. Um, People in Denver really against trading Sertan, which I understand. He's young. He's on a cost-controlled contract. Um, so I understand people who are against trading Sertan, but he, like, you really have to ask yourself, is he going to re-sign here when his contract is up if this team is the dumpster fire that it is? It's a real question you got to wrestle with. So, for that Minnesota game, oh wow, taking another shot. For that Minnesota game, listen, Minnesota could have put themselves in better positions. Minnesota is just so frustrating. They constantly beat themselves. So um, that's tough. But Kansas City, I mean, listen, they look human this year. And there have been years that they did not look human, but Kansas City looks human this year. And of course, the year that they look human, the Bengals look like trash, and the Bills let a couple games drop that they shouldn't. Ravens, lose a couple games that they shouldn't. It's just nobody wants to step up and really make the Chiefs pay for looking human this year. So, listen, Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes will figure it out. That offense will turn on at some point. And I think their defense is really good. But, all right, if you're the Raiders, you got to go put up at least 3 here. You got to make this a 7-point lead. $5.20. I mean, I guess if you're the Raiders, you can just try to run clock here if you want. Wouldn't be my suggestion, though. I think you got to go try to score. Appreciate you, Gabs. Always love when you hang out, talk a little ball. So feel free to keep coming by. Enjoy having you in here. So have a good night, man. So you're at 4:25 now of the fourth quarter. 3 more downs. Probably needed one more first down for a field goal try, maybe 2. One should do it. If I was the Packers, I'd consider start using my timeouts here. It's hard to just let that time tick off the clock. Yeah, you got to start conserving some clock here. So 3:23, you got 2 timeouts, a fresh set of downs. You got the 2 minute warning. So essentially, you can get them to fourth down at the 2 minute warning. You got to hold them here, though. You can't let them get another first down. Why are you not taking a timeout? Why didn't you take a timeout? Why aren't you taking a timeout? Ugh. Why are we managing the clock like this? Now you're gonna take a timeout? All right, that's something at least. All right, so if even if they run the ball here, you can take a timeout because you saved your last one. So that gets you down to about 2:20, no timeouts. So as long as you hold them to a field goal try here, um, should get the ball back with about 2:20 and no timeouts, which is plenty of time to execute a 2 minute offense. Obviously. Oh, that was close. You gonna take your timeout or what? What are you doing? Oh, this is horrendous clock management. You can save time on the other side of the 2 minute warning. You can't get that time back. The hell are you doing? Yeah, that's what are you doing? Not taking your time out there. Oh, it drives me crazy. Absolutely drives me nuts. All right, I'm gonna take a quick commercial with them to make sure we don't have commercials turned on here in the last 2 minutes. So I'll be right back. All right, we're back. Interesting to see if Josh McDaniels is going to go for it here and try to win the game after this 2-minute warning, or do you take the field goal and make sure you're up by 7 and that no 2-minute drive can hurt you? Looks like the field goal kicker's out there, so he's going to take the 3 and make it a 7-point lead. Oh, man, that is big. Oh, man, hits the upright. So here's the thing, and this is what they say about the field goal of death. This was not a field goal of death, but um, you the Packers have the gift of desperation here. Field goals do you no good, right? You're down 4, so you gift them 4th down. They get now 4 cracks to pick up 10 yards every time when you normally only have 3. And if you are only down by a field goal, if you get into field goal range and you're down 3, you take the field goal, right? So now, because it's 4, you gift them that 4th down where they can go and try to beat you. And that field goal of death thing is if you're kicking a field goal to go up by less than 7, your win percentage actually goes down, which is why they call it the field goal of death. It's counterintuitive, but nice reach. Oh, you not how are you not going to give him the reach? This is no, that's a first down. Yeah, you got to review that. Thank you. I mean, that's pretty obvious, right? That's a first down. You got tons of time. Minute 46 to go 50 yards. I mean, you're in a good spot there if you're the Packers. Yeah, Aikman said you better block 98, and that is definitely your biggest challenge that you got. Yeah, I don't know what's taking so long. In, adva- in advance of that's, I mean, he didn't describe that right, but okay, first down Packers. Fine. Uh, Yeah, you got plenty of time. 147 and a timeout to go 50 yards is an eternity. In fact, I'd warn you that you don't want to leave Jimmy G time to get a field goal afterwards. Yeah, throws it away. Smart. Because remember, got 2 downs to pick this up. 2 downs to get 2 yards. Yeah, that wasn't a great looking play. That's for damn sure. Okay, you're on the 35 now. Now you got to start thinking clock, right? Minute 10 to go. You still have your timeout. You got plenty of time still, but you're starting to think clock. What up, Chancey? Thanks for jumping in the chat for the first time. No, I got clipped. They got me in trouble for showing the games, and I got a copyright and a ban for a couple days. So, like I had mentioned when I was showing the games, they when I get in trouble for it, I'm gonna stop, and I got in trouble for it. So, sorry, man. Um, no, you're good, man. You're good. Appreciate you jumping in. Feel free to hang out and watch the game with us. I know I can't show it, but so I'm at 55 seconds of the fourth. Oh. Okay, you got 2 downs to pick this up now. So if you need to take an underneath throw on this third down, it's definitely a smart play. Picking up 5 here is a win on this third down. 51 seconds, you still got a timeout. What are you doing? You didn't have to take that chance. What are you doing? Man, Jordan, that is not a chance you got to take there. Wow. Jordan, bad decision, man. Brutal. Not a chance you had to take. You had 2 downs to pick it up. You could have run for maybe a first down, at least like 5 yards. Yeah, I mean, just not ideal. Not ideal. All right. Well, thanks everybody for coming and hanging out. Always appreciate everybody spending a little time watching the game with us. We'll hit a commercial break and then I'll raid you guys out if anybody's left. So thank you everybody for joining us. Appreciate y'all.